So you want to hear a story? I got one for you. This is the story of the most famous missing person on YouTube, Lars Mittank. Lars and 5 of his friends, all in their late 20s, arrived in Varna, a beach resort along Bulgaria's Black Sea coast known as the Bulgarian Riviera. While there, they went to the beach, the local bars and restaurants, and all in all, it was a good vacation.
Welcome to Now It's Dark.
A situation came up that was a little less than ideal, but didn't seem like a very big deal at the time. On July 6th, 2014, Lars had an altercation with several men at a bar over a football game. Just a my team's better than your team type thing. It never got violent, and Lars and his friends left the bar to get some food and head back to their hotel. When they got to the restaurant, Lars said he was going to take a walk and would meet with them later. Lars didn't show up at the hotel until the following morning. He said he had been beaten up by a group of men, and he was sure that these men had been sent after him by the men he had argued with at the bar earlier. His jaw and his ear hurt, but he decided to just relax in his hotel room, hoping it would get better. Hours later, when it hadn't gotten any better, Lars saw a doctor who informed him that he had a ruptured eardrum and should not fly for at least a few days. The doctor said the pressure changes while flying would be unbearable and could cause even more damage. He prescribed the antibiotic cefuroxime, a well-known and popular antibiotic used by many doctors at the time. His friends wanted to stay with him, but he convinced them that it would be okay, it would only be a day or two, and he would be fine. He said he'd see them in a few days. So they left, and Lars moved to another hotel that was closer to the airport and a bit less expensive. The next day, Lars began to act paranoid. He called his mother and told her people were trying to rob him or kill him. He asked his mom to cancel his credit cards. Cameras in the hotel show Lars pacing up and down the halls, looking out windows, and even hiding in an elevator at one point. At 1 a.m., he left the hotel. It's not clear where he went, but he returned about an hour later. That morning, he called his mother, saying the people that were pursuing him were getting closer. She wasn't really sure what was happening, but she could hear the fear in his voice. She had never heard Lars sound like this. Lars texted his mother asking about the antibiotic and what it was. He said there was something wrong with the medication, it was making him sick. The next morning, he called his mother saying he was ready to come home. She bought a plane ticket for him, and Lars took a taxi to the airport. The taxi driver would later say Lars seemed anxious, even paranoid, constantly looking out the back window as if they were being followed. At the airport, he texted his mother to let her know he had arrived, and he made his way to the airport doctor to be sure he was okay to fly. The doc said he could and told Lars to follow up with his doctor once he got home. As they were finishing up, a man opened the door to the doctor's office to ask a question. Lars, who had seemed stressed up to this point, got up, headed for the door, and said, "I don't want to die here," and then ran from the room. When asked later, Dr. Kostov said the whole interaction with Lars was very bizarre. CCTV footage shows Lars running through the airport, constantly looking over his shoulder, past the boarding gates and check-in desks, through the main entrance, across the parking lot, and over an 8-foot fence and into the woods next to the airport. No one can be seen following him. His wallet and passport were in his backpack, which he left when he ran out of the medical office. All he had with him was what he was wearing, his denim shorts, bright yellow shirt, white sneakers, and, of course, his cell phone, because we never go anywhere without them. Local authorities conducted an exhaustive search of the area, including the use of dogs and helicopters. On July 12, 2014, Sandra, Lars' mother, flew to Bulgaria to coordinate with the police. She passed out flyers, spoke to potential witnesses, authorities, and hotel staff at both hotels. Between 2017 and 2019, multiple searches were conducted around the Varna Airport. The focus was on more remote areas that may have been overlooked in the previous searches. They used large volunteer groups, drones, LiDAR, ground-penetrating radar, and search dogs. They explored abandoned buildings, wells, and densely vegetated areas. They found nothing. In 2020, searches were hindered due to the pandemic. Like with other missing persons, there were sightings over the years. A trucker said he saw Lars hitchhiking a deserted road in Varna about a year after he went missing. There was a homeless man in Poland who looked just like him. Someone claimed to have seen him in Canada. Unfortunately, none of these could be verified. In December of 2016, police in Brazil found a man walking along a highway, barefoot and disoriented. The man and his clothes were dirty. He had no identification and was unable to provide his name. He said he didn't know it. He was about the same build, approximately the same height, had similar hair, though longer, and now a straggly beard. It wasn't Lars. It was a man by the name Anton Pilipa, a Canadian humanitarian worker who himself had gone missing 5 years earlier. Anton was reunited with his family. These are the facts that most people can agree on. But there has been a recent update that many people do not believe. I'm not sure I believe it. I couldn't find the information anywhere online. In fact, I only found 2 YouTube videos that mentioned it, and one of them I can't find anymore. April 17, 2025, Sandra Mittank, Lars' mother, received a call from Detective Elena Petrova from the Varna Regional Police Department. "We've found something significant," she said. A construction crew breaking ground for a new industrial complex 12 kilometers from the Varna Airport while clearing a densely wooded area said that they had discovered human remains. Nearby, they found a weathered yellow fabric similar to the shirt Lars was last seen wearing. An initial forensic examination indicated the remains had been there for several years. A wallet was also found. It contained a faded, deteriorated, but still recognizable German ID card. The name on the card? Lars Mittank. DNA testing was rushed, and it was determined that they had found the remains of Lars Mittank. This discovery raised as many questions as it seemed to answer. First, how did Lars travel more than 12 kilometers without ever being seen? Personally, I think he went out of his way to not be seen, considering he thought people were trying to kill him. The remains showed no sign of violent trauma. Investigators state due to the unusual positioning of the remains and other details they found peculiar, that the scene did not look like one where a man simply got lost and succumbed to the elements. Well, why would they? He was dealing with some kind of a psychological issue. Forensic toxicology was completed on what little tissue was available. It showed traces of cefuroxime, the antibiotic Lars had been prescribed, but it also showed something else. Significant levels of an unidentified substance that shared chemical properties with several synthetic drugs that had been circulating in the tourist areas of Bulgaria in 2014. Further testing identified this as a banned designer drug that appeared on the European club scene between 2013 and 2015. The street name was Pulse. It was a powerful stimulant and hallucinogen that had been linked to many cases of extreme paranoia and psychotic episodes. It was also known to interact dangerously with certain antibiotics, including cefuroxime. What it did specifically was prevent the liver from clearing these chemicals from the body, producing a longer, more intense effect. Lars' damaged but still functional phone was found at the scene. Digital forensics extracted data from Lars' phone and found, in addition to the text messages that got more paranoid with each one, he had also made several notes claiming he was being followed and that someone had tampered with his medication in some way. They tried to determine how Lars had ingested the designer drug, but were unable to. One of the men involved in that argument in the bar, however, was known to sell designer drugs to tourists in the area. Maybe even though those who knew him said he was not a drug user, he decided to try something while on vacation. Maybe there was something Lars wanted, and the drug dealer said, yeah, that's just what I've got, even though it wasn't, and he knew it. Drug dealers are not known for their morals. Or maybe after their argument, the dealer dosed Lars' drink as a way of getting even with him. Renowned forensic anthropologist Dr. Marta Vasileva investigated the physical evidence and the environmental factors at the scene. Dr. Vasileva says what they saw was consistent with someone having a severe psychotic episode. The report found that Lars had died within 24 to 48 hours of his disappearance. Forensic techniques available today showed not only the presence of the designer drug Pulse, but also shows it was an extremely high dose. This, along with the antibiotic, they said, would have created a potentially catastrophic drug interaction. Doesn't look like there's anything potentially catastrophic about it to me. The antibiotic would have inhibited metabolization of the stimulant, multiplying its potency and duration. Experts who reviewed the case said it was a perfect storm caused by the interaction of these drugs. So, what do you believe? Did they find Lars? Or is he still missing? And if he is still missing, what happened to him? And then, who is it that they did find? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like and subscribe if you want more dark, mysterious stories like this. And thank you for watching Now It's Dark.